Hello everyone! First, I would like to thank everyone who supported and interacted with my first Q&A video. I want to be able to give back and communicate with you all as much as my time allows, so your support makes me really happy. Here's another video with more received questions. Have you always wanted to become a storyteller, or have you thought about other possible professions as well? Why have you chosen architecture as a major and not fine arts? I've never decided that I want to be a storyteller. I just was. I've always been creating stories in my head, and I think people around me were always bored of how I tell stories, like everyday stories, something that happened in school, because I go into too much detail, or I just go all around the place just to say one thing, one simple thing. So I've always been a storyteller, and it just happened that it turned out like I knew I'm going to work with my art as a profession, but I never knew how much storytelling was a part of my life until I started telling stories professionally. I didn't choose architecture out of any reason. I didn't like school as a whole, and I didn't have any idea what I want to study, and my family just suggested architecture, and I was like, okay, I'll go with you because I didn't want to study art at all. I was enjoying self-studying. I was enjoying the journey of learning everything about art, and I didn't want to ruin it in school, which is something I really hated. Being taught things killed the joy of learning for me. The way things were normally taught around here was so close to spoon feeding, which something wasn't really enjoyable at all for me. And back in 2004, when I finished high school, there weren't any good majors related to art or animation. So I just went with the closest thing that is related to art, but something that I don't really understand, and they say is a good major, which is architecture. I would really like to know if you ever had an interest in animating. Actually, I did. Initially, my dream was to become an animator. I never thought of manga, and I've never read manga before I started. I really thought it's just not for me, and I'm more into animation because that's all I did. I watched animation rather than reading any manga or comic books. But then I decided to give manga a shot just to sharpen my skills, and I instantly fell in love. And with time, I realized how the one-man job that manga is more for me than all the technical work and the group work that animation actually needs. But still, animation is in the back of my head, and I think I'm gonna get back to it someday. But for now, I think I belong behind the desk working as a manga artist. Can you tell us more about your workflow? How long do you work each day, and do you take holidays or days off? I work every day from 6 to 8 hours. When I have a chapter, I try my best to finish the minimum of 2 pages per day. Every hour that I don't have to do something else other than art in, then you'll find me on the desk creating. I don't take holidays. It's a labor out of love, honestly. It's a labor of love. I don't think that I need a holiday, but I do force a holiday from time to time just to mark a milestone. Like when I finish a chapter, I always take a day or 2 off. But even in those holidays, I just take the time off from writing in the actual story. But I do sketch and create like special chapters or some random ideas. I do have to say though, snow days are definitely always a holiday. Where do you get your ideas for your stories from? What kind of relationships do you like most? What is your favorite manga and manga genre? Well, ideas come from the life around me. And everything that I do, everything I observe, everything I read or watch, some way or another makes its way back to my stories. I guess what goes around comes around, or in this case, what comes around goes around, is how I can simply put it. Platonic relationships, especially friendships and then family, are my most favorite relationships that I like to write about and read about. And as for my favorite manga, as of right now, it's Hunter x Hunter. Even though that's not completely 100% sure, I do trust Togashi, but the story isn't done yet, so you can't give a real opinion about something that's still ongoing, I think. And I really enjoy any story that is told good in a good way, regardless of genre. But I do enjoy slice of life manga most, with a touch of psychology and maybe a bit of drama. You know, the usual genre that I like to write about. When did you become self-employed? From the get-go. I graduated college and I stayed home. I talked with my father and explained that I don't want to work anywhere. I don't want to work as an architect and I want to work with my art. And he knows that I'm serious enough. When I put something in my head, I'm gonna do it. And back then I was very, very low maintenance. I didn't have so many needs and I didn't even have a pet. I only had my empty room and my introvert self that doesn't like to go out or have any social activities. I didn't have any expenses. I just sat down in my room and worked day in, day out, creating this story, interacting with people. I don't think I had the idea of publishing books, printing them, shipping them abroad and all that. I just knew that I want to work with my art. So thankfully I was given that time to figure out what I want to do, and with the help of the readers, they were the ones that requested the printed book, and from there it started and it's now my career. Does Oreki respond when you call his name? Also, did you name him after a certain character? He does respond to my voice and the tone of my voice. He usually responds to baby more than Oreki. And of course he was named after Hotaro Oreki from the anime Hyoka. Do you see the end of greyis, and do you want to draw another manga? Do you have any ideas? I used to have a very clear one, but so many has changed during the process of writing that I don't see the end. I have a vague idea of where the characters are heading, but who knows, I think that will change too with time. Do I want to draw another manga? I really wish I have the time to commit to another manga, and of course once I finish greyis, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have another new idea in mind, even though I have around like 7 stories with a clear idea what I want to tell through them. Ideas seem to pop up in my head every now and then, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. What other names would you consider or have considered for greyis, as well as black and white? I don't think there are other names that I can think of. These names were kind of random, and it's a funny story how I came up to choose them. And I remember that I used black and white for like 6 months without making my mind on using them, and I kept looking for words in other languages that mean black and white. But by the time I found ones that I liked, I think it was in Gaelic Irish language, I realized that I've been using black and white for so long that I can't change them. As for the title, greyis, it's also not the most creative title. It fits the story so much, but I didn't give it much thought because when I started greyis, it was just a one-shot. I was just trying how to work with manga and I didn't give so much thought into every little detail. But thankfully everything worked out really well, even with the story and the bigger plot that it is now compared to the smaller, very short story that I had in mind for a one-shot manga. Would you ever make another printed sketchbook log for sale? I really love that. I would love to reprint logbook 1 and 2 and continue to 3 and 4 because I have the special chapters and I have tons of sketches. But right now I'm kind of focusing on putting all the income that I make into printing the actual book by the end of the year. I really hope that someday I can make some extra on the side so I can print these books and make them available again. Okay, those were all the questions for this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Also, you'll find info about the tools I used in this video in the description. If you want to know more about my work greyis, visit greyismanga.com, and if you want support for art tips, tutorials, and process videos, you can sign up to my Patreon. Thank you for watching, and till next time.